Rasty McGibbon with Matt Fabrizio, Women's Division II head coach at Villanova. Matt, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, Rasty.
You were telling me a really interesting story, and we're going to kind of go back. We're going to start by going back to that. Going back to grad school, not really looking for a job coaching, and coaching kind of found you. So tell me, just kind of walk me through that.
So at the end of I coach high school hockey. I've always coached high school hockey, and at the end of the season, the parents give you something with your name on it or whatever. Yeah. So when I went back to school as a 42-year-old grad student, I was like, this is my school bag. And long story short, one of the girls on the Villanova hockey team sees the bag, she sees the hockey stick, she goes, do you play hockey? And
are you guys going to class together?
She's in my class.
Oh,
she
wow,
was an
okay.
undergrad,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
It was my one class with undergrads.
Yeah.
So I'm 42, my little backpack,
right.
Running around campus, and she's like, are you a hockey player? And I was like, I would say I'm more of a coach.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, we need a coach for our practices because they're late night. And I was like, oh, I would love to do that. You know? Then the next week it was the info session because the class was once a week. She's like, we're at the info session like 10 minutes after class. You should come. I was like, okay, let's go. And then the next week she goes, you're not going to believe this, but our head coach just quit. Do you want to be the head coach? And I was like, yeah, okay. So we, 12 girls, program was kind of in like transition. There wasn't a lot of interest. There wasn't a lot of knowledge across the campus that we had it.
And how many years ago was that now?
This was 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
So my seniors now were freshmen when I was a freshman.
Yeah. So you were kind of in the throes of COVID, which makes like
pre-COVID. 2019.
Pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, and then you weathered the storm through COVID.
Yeah, I actually, so the championship was in like late February that year, and we were all sick. I think we all had COVID.
Oh, wow,
that's always been my theory. Yeah. And then the COVID hits the next month. The next season's lost. And then,
So now, last year, you guys were invited to the national tournament as a 16 seed. Is that right?
The last seed. We arrived as the last seed, and we left as the last seed. You can look at our scores; they were bad.
That is consistency. That's consistency.
That's what you can rely on for me.
So, we were just talking to we talked to Sarah Barshap, your captain. She was kind of telling us that just prior to coming to the tournament, you had some goalie issues, and she stepped up. Not a goalie. But played goal so that you guys were able to come. Yeah. Tell me, some people would just kind of go, ha, but was there kind of a cohesive effect to just weathering the storm together?
We completely came together and rallied around Sarah. So when we started the game, in the middle of the first period, she's in tears. And I call her in, right? And I call her to the bench while play's going on because there was no consoling. I call her, calm her down, and the reason I know is because my friend was listening to the broadcast, and they're like, I don't even know if this is legal. The Nova coach just pulled the goalie in the middle of the first period, and so I calmed her down. Sent her back out back on the ice. We're playing the top seed in the tournament. They're now at Lake Superior State. I think they're like a D1 team now. Right. So we calmed her down, and then you could see like there was people were cheering for both teams, and then you could see like as the score got worse, we became like the Cinderella team, and everyone cheered for us. So it builds up. They scored the first 22 goals of the game, so that was our bad part. But we scored the last one, and when we did score that final goal, the whole there's 3 or 4 teams were there now watching. The whole place erupts.
It sounds like a Disney movie.
It's a bad Disney movie. Yeah, it's more like a totally. Yeah, it is a Disney story. Yeah.
So you go through nationals last year, pool play, 0-3.
0-3.
And then kind of what happens with, tell us a bit about what Sarah's involvement did for you guys over the summer.
Oh, she's so unbelievable. She revamped our entire recruiting process, our social media, the way we look, our logo, everything that could be reworked, she did it. She's an amazing person, and we are a student-run organization, so I look and act like a coach, but she's the boss, all right, and I answer to her. She does everything. She revamped our recruiting so that there's always been like a funnel of girls that come from New England that end up in Nova. So on a team that is now up to 26 girls are on our roster. Sarah came in, there was only 12. And then she's grown it, awareness, talent, recruiting, etc. on a roster of 26 girls, there are only have 4 girls from the state of PA, which is where we're located.
Right.
We have a big conduit, a big highway coming from New England here, and and we also have a good amount of girls from the Midwest, but it's those Boston girls, these local Boston girls. Like
are funneling into the pipeline.
4 or 5 of my players are staying at home with their families.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, this week, because one girl, 2 of my players, this is their home rink.
So you get this influx, the New England pipeline is flowing.
It's a good thing.
You get an influx. Tell me about the success you had this season.
So we started off playing against University of Pittsburgh, which did very well in the national tournament. We wanted to get off to a good start. We knew we had a strong incoming class, but we didn't know how strong.
Right.
We didn't know if we could compete with these teams that practice 2-3 times a week. We get on the ice for 1 hour a week, and that's it, right? So we don't have the facilities, the support that other schools do. So it was, can we keep up with them? We played University of Pitt. We won both of those games. We play Rowan, who we had never beaten before. We beat Rowan. We started playing some of the local club teams. We played like a Little Flyers U19 team, which I expected us to get shut out. We beat them. All of a sudden, we're playing at the University of Delaware. I'm like, this is where the dream comes to an end. We've never scored against University of Delaware, and we beat them at University of Delaware.
So at this point, has the confidence just snowballed?
It goes like this.
Exponential.
Then, which is crazy about college hockey, is that we wrap up like a week before Thanksgiving in like a showcase tournament. Then it's Thanksgiving, the girls go home. Then it's the week before finals. Then it's finals. We don't want to play during that time. Then you get off for 5 weeks. So we have this 2-month break, and we're 13-0, smelling ourselves, feeling really good. Of course, our first game back, we get the doors blown off again in our first game back, and then that was the snowball melted.
Yeah. I mean, and retrospectively, was that a good wake-up call?
Then it was a wake-up call. That next practice, the girls were so focused and ready to rock and roll, and we did not lose. No, we went down to Annapolis, beat Navy during our senior day. Went and wrapped up our season against some of our other local teams that we wanted that we hadn't beaten before. Win. Navy did beat us in triple overtime in our conference championship, and that one still smarts a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's such a great team, and it's such a great organization. What are you going to do?
If you look back over the last 2 seasons, as a coach, how awesome is it just to see the level of confidence in these young student athletes grow?
Yeah, it's so cool. And I always say this to my assistant coach, Mike, that we're part of their hockey world 10% of the time, right? They're on buses with each other, on the vans with each other, practicing on campus, etc. They only see us for a little portion of time. They are all of our experience, but we're only such a little small. So when I get to say, I'm like watching, almost like a third party, even though I'm the coach, I'm watching as a third party, and you see these girls from the beginning of the year, when it's like a bunch of strangers, to now when they would do anything for each other, that they would have, the only link is that they all skate together, and that when we do our thing, when we are all together, that's when we succeed. And I say, we're all messes in our own personal lives outside of hockey, but when we all come together, we do our own thing here. And to see the girls play for each other, doing it for the friend, do it for a very close friend, that this person's staying at this person's house, that's the best part about it, right? You've seen the camaraderie come together.
Tournament yesterday, probably not getting off to the start that you want, but the great thing about pool play is you get 3 games.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to redeem yourself today. Mm-hmm. Sarah was telling us about an awesome pre-game by you talking about hope. Give us a snippet of that.
Well, so I'm an English teacher.
Tell us about the magic sauce.
Yeah. I'm an English teacher. I can't give my secret.
Yeah.
No, I'm an English teacher. And so we just finished our 5th book, a high school English teacher. We just finished our 5th book of the year. One of my students raises his hand. He goes, Mr. Fabs, every book you read, the underlying theme is hope. Like, why do we always have to read about hope? And I was like, hope is the most powerful emotion, human emotion.
Right.
So I got into that. I kind of tied that in, and I do believe in like the Gipper speeches beforehand. Yeah. So I definitely think through and have my notes on what I want to say. And I just want to deliver a piece of hope. So most of the team had lost 4 straight nationals games.
Right.
We weren't feeling good about ourselves. This was a do or die. This was, if we lost, then tomorrow's game's meaningless. So I said, we have to hold on to this hope. We have to hold on to it, and we have to take advantage of this powerful emotion. it seemed to land right the way that we were hoping that it would land.
Right.
We went out there. I would say, by the way they played in the first 5-10 minutes of the game, that whether it was the speech or the motivation or whatever it was, they knew their backs were up against a wall, and they delivered for us. So it was so cool.
Well, hey, thanks so much for this.
So much fun.
Yeah,
man. Really fun.
and best of luck tomorrow.
All right.
Spread the sweater. You got the sharpest sweater in the building, so everybody can see it.
My wife bought me this. She's the one that dresses me, and if I look good, it's because of her.
In the words of a Canadian, all women love a sharp-dressed man. Okay. Anyway,
right,
Mike Fabrizio, thanks so much. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Be good.